solid. I am free. I am solid. I am free. In the ultimate I dwell. In the ultimate I dwell. So, good morning, everyone, and a very, very Merry Christmas from the Monk Life Meditation Institute to your home, wherever that home may be. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Christmas, 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 Christmas. We're all in Christmas together. That's why people like me, because their lives are hell and I am their Savior. I am their Christ. It's also the same reason that I like live stream and the community, because my life is hell and this is Christ. This is Christ consciousness. I'm getting weller every moment as the coffee and the caffeine starts to enter into my fasted body. I put down the cigarettes today and it's been very difficult. Been very troubling to be with that neutrality, that neutralness. Be with the energy of neutralness. If I saw myself as a prophet, then I would be a schizophrenic retard. There's also going to be some very, very special Christmas makeup today. Some Santa. Well, who can say? Maybe let's just say we might have a special guest later on. We may have a special guest later on in the live stream that will be very shocking and joyous, with a lot of presents. So we can all get ready for that. That's a difficult, right? Because, there's a lot to enjoy about smoking cigarettes. Depends on what kind of cigarettes you smoke, because maybe I would think that the ones that you smoke are nasty. But the ones that I would smoke right now are very delicious, because it's actually like a black tea flavor. And you get to breathe it, just breathing in the air, waking up and breathing in the air. That's a kind of, what's fun about that? What's good about that? But breathing in the smoke, your lungs get to fill up. You get to feel the real fullness of the lungs. And that's nice to feel in the morning, isn't it? Um, but it's a balance between action and non-action, because the emphasis from a Buddhist point of view in quitting cigarettes, right, would be in the non-action, the non-using, rather than the using or the action of not using. Does that make sense? Non-action versus action, fighting against the craving or the notion of that being something that you do, versus being aware, or be identifying with that awareness, that consciousness, that conscious presence that doesn't really pick or choose, like it doesn't pick or choose if the heart beats or not, but is fully there, totally there. Yeah. Remember, this is day 4 of Dr. Rob's fasting, so he's also a fasting professional. I am home. I am home. We are home. We are home. Awaken, spirit of the wind. I feel you blow in me. Awaken, spirit of the sun. I feel you shine in me. I am home. I am home. You are home. You are home. Don't just sit there making things up. You know, this is kind of pre-science, the pre-era of enlightenment. Yeah, we can think about things and we can conceptualize things in a lot of different ways. But the science of the mind is not conceptual. So you have to practice with the research. You have to practice with the enduring. We listened yesterday as a part of the Monk Life Meditation Institute homework program. We listened to a talk from Ajahn Yanamoli from Hillside Hermitage, and he talks about this self as a kind of animal that's not you, that you can't control. This animal wants to seek pleasure, it wants to avoid pain, it gets angry, it's greedy. If you just try to sit with yourself and be with yourself, it's not you that say, oh, I don't want to be with myself anymore. It's actually this animal. It's actually this animal that gets angry, that is noisy, where we can't endure ourselves, we can't endure our direct experience. We can't be with our own minds. I can see the level of engagement to one degree or another, but I can't see what specific people are doing. That's a good idea though, Ginger. People like accountability. People like getting a grade. The big words aren't going to help you. Buddhism isn't going to help you. Addiction isn't going to help you. Escapism isn't going to help you. Surely, surely. And wisdom is something that kind of insight that comes from, is transcendental. It's beyond the person, the place, the situation. It's beyond the scope of the self as a god. So in Buddhism, this is kind of the fundamental difference between Buddhism, let's say, and Christianity and the underlying views or principles, right? The Christianity sees the self as God, as a God. And there's a bigger God out there. And depending on what this God does, what this God chooses, and what this God believes in and follows, etc., then that bigger God will decide if you go up to heaven or you go up to hell forever. In the Buddhism, the self is just an animal. It's like this body is just an animal. It's really talking about the body. I think he's giving a teaching on discerning the mind from the body, because this body is literally just a sack of shit. It's unknowing. It's like if if the mind wasn't here, if the chitta wasn't here, if the awareness wasn't here, then this body would just like that start dissolving, start melting. And we say, well, that's really complex. Well, it's not. You could install a button on someone's head that had a needle in it that poked through at a right specific place, and that would be the death of the body. So it happens just like that, and it doesn't mean your head needs to get blown off or you have to have cancer or anything like that. Brain aneurysm, whatever, and boom, that consciousness, that chitta, that awareness is not there anymore, and so the body just degrades. But we identify with the body. We identify with the body as ourself. We identify with the body as this fundamental ingredient in the real true person in a real true story. But what is the mind? What is the nature of the mind? We don't know. We haven't thought about it. We haven't looked at it as if we could think about it. As if even this base body, this coarse body, was operating under the principles of thoughts. Tarnagula? What's going on over there in Tarnagula? Ooh, Australia. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. In a good way, in the outback, in the way of the bush. In the way of the bush. So, if you were to look for yourself, for your, the real you in the body, where would you find it? in your rectum, in your stomach, in your heart area? Is it in your armpit? Is it in your ear? So really the foundational building blocks of what the self is just a notions. It's just a thoughts, it's just a beliefs. And so actually for all of our intellectual atheist, agnostic, deep thinking white people out there, belief in self as a continuous character in a story, in whatever way you want to think about it, is just the same as the belief in God. Because this self has a creation story. This self has a genesis. And this self has a retribution time. If the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve is not a story of the ignorance and attachment of parents and the burgeoning of the universe, which is you, then what is it? Adam and Eve, innocent, raw, natural parents giving birth to the universe. Pure freedom, pure bliss, oceanic awareness, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, care in all the ways. But because of this grasping, and of course it was the woman, of course it was the woman who did it, to eat this fruit of knowledge, of intellect, of thinking, the whole shebang went to shit. And this is a message for all parents around the world with the babies, with the children. It's not your job to use those babies and use those children as a dump truck for your thoughts and your ideas and your nonstop thinking. Those children, those babies are a teacher for you, a master for you, a guru for you. To be mindful and to be in calmness and to allow your thoughts and your beliefs about the identity and the ego of your child to dissolve and disappear. Thoughts are not what is used to practice meditation. Thoughts, let's say, or teachings or transmissions can be a certain kind of, Bodhidharma calls this an entry by principle. Entry by principle. So we understand the principle of impermanence, no self, the unsatisfactoriness. This is the problem of the animal. This is the problem of the self, is that there's this notion that there's something satisfactory out there. There's something that's going to satisfy the thirst and the hunger of this body, but there isn't. It's impossible for this body to be satisfied, for this hunger, for this seeking to be satisfied, because it's just seeking. So how can seeking satisfy itself? How can a thought grasp something? How can a thought hold on to something? Doesn't make any sense. And the way that, and we say, well, what is it? You're supposed to be some kind of revolutionary freak? I mean, what do you think's going on? It's 2020. It's almost 2026, baby. We're way past the 60s. And also, I'm not trying to bring it into that kind of mindset, but what I'm saying is that this is a dharmic field, a dharmic invocation. And if we look at the world and how the planet is treated, how cities, how companies, how big buildings treat the water, the river, and the earth around us, we can see that we're not as advanced as we think that we are. Only when we're in a kind of conditional environment of comfortableness. So this idea of the validity of seeking that something could be got, that something could be reached that will satisfy the self is exactly what is perpetuating suffering and seeking to begin with. Because if you didn't think anymore that there was something that you could get that would satisfy you, then you wouldn't be seeking anymore, would you? And that's where the allowance for meditation to take place happens. If you feel lost now, great. I feel lost every time I wake up in the morning, and schizophrenic, and a little bit anxious. I woke up this morning and I was thinking about not Aiden Ross, but I was thinking about the guy. Who's the guy who wrote the songs and smokes the cigarettes? I'd like to be him. Maybe I will be him pretty soon. Who's that guy? Come on. You want it darker? He looks like Anthony Bourdain. Come on, somebody. He was a Zen priest, he's an author, he's a singer, he's an old man who's dead. Come on. Can't believe this. What's this guy's name? He's one of the most famous, Leonard Cohen. And Leonard Cohen said, when I wake up in the morning, I think to myself, am I waking up from grace? Am I waking up through grace? And if I'm not, then I go back to sleep. I go back to that way. And I thought about that in the morning, or I thought about that in general. And and then, and then I thought about my supporters. I thought about the workers of the world. They've got to go to work, Leonard. They can't lay back down and go to sleep. So, alas, we wake up with or without grace. Two, and this is the guidance, this is the work that I'm doing, with tons of suffering and misery and not eating food for 3 days and not smoking a cigarette right now. And that's to do more and more good deeds. Doing good deeds limitlessly with mindfulness and detachment. That is not about someone, not about something, not about somewhere, not about some situation. Concerned with the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Concerned with awareness. The best teachings we can get our hands on and get a hang of, and the community that's concerned with that. The community, what community? The community of wide-eyed, bushy-tailed Venetian women at the beach, ready to rear and bear children. No, the community of shitters and pissers and vomiters and all that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff. So it's a principle and a practice to take place, and this is the Sangha zone. This is the community zone. Not just that, but the poor and the sick and the disabled, the otherly abled, the animals, the environment, the natural powers, the natural things. We do good deeds in secret. More and more and more and more. We hide our virtuous activities, and we expose our lack of virtue. We expose our lack of wisdom, our lack of compassion, our reactivity. Well, we're not just going to sit around here and meditate, are we? That would be really boring, wouldn't it? I don't think we'd have many views. I don't think we'd have. I felt it. I felt it in my chest. Because it is good to meditate, regardless of if there's views or anybody's there. But if you just want to meditate by yourself, maybe that could be used for the others as well. It's Christmas Day here, and at the Monk Life Meditation Institute, the Christmas tree is fully revealed, even though you can't see it, and we are ready to receive offerings of all kinds here and now. So we can know how to use the power of both sides. Maybe we're really ready to meditate. We're a very devoted student of Dr. Rob and practicing meditation and all those kinds of things, and we're ready to meditate. And so Dr. Rob uses the power of, okay, I'm going to take care of these people that are really ready to meditate. We're going to practice together. As a facilitator, it's just a facilitation, you know what I mean? But in the same way that we use the power of that, we say there's thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of thousands of unwashed masses scrolling on YouTube, looking for something of value, something of meaning, something that has a true concern with the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. So we're going to use the power of that as well. But this is the thing. The greater the need, that's what you meet. If you already know how to meditate, if you already know how to listen to Dharma talks, then you're good. You're ready to go. Using the power of everything, using the power of anything, whatever it is, without attachment. Shiva, you can join for meditation because Santa Claus is coming. Santa Claus is coming, so we have to wait a little bit before Santa Claus gets here. So do some meditation, raise your potency. The power that is in what is already. That's nice. All right, everybody, you can put your Merry Christmas wishes on the back of a $50 bill, the back of a $100 bill. Put it on the back of $1,000. Or else. I'm checking the list. I'm checking it twice. I'm going to find out who's donating or not. There's actually a truth in that. There's actually a hidden truth in that. And there's a humanness in that as well when it comes to relationships. That because what we kind of get caught up in, which is wrong, and it doesn't come from a wisdom, a deep experience, is this idea of true honesty. True honesty is empty of honesty. What are the real teachings? What is the real truth? That's for you and your lawyer to discuss. That's for the judge to determine. That has nothing to do with the Dharma. So, for example, when the villagers came for Angulimala, because not everybody knows this story, and maybe it's a song that's played too often. There was this guy back 2,600 years ago during the time of the Buddha, or so they say, that was a serial killer and a cannibal and also a trigger warning, a rapist. And he went around murdering, torturing, doing everything that an evil person could do to men, women, and children. Whoever he could get his hands on, he did horrible things to them. He killed them, and he was a serial killer. And he would gather up the items. He would cut off toes, the big toe from victims that he killed, and he would wear that around in a necklace, kind of like a mala. Sometimes you see the meditative people wearing a necklace, right, of a spiritual necklace. So Angulimala wore a spiritual necklace of big toes from the people he tortured and killed and murdered, children, women, everything. He loved it. He loved that kind of stuff. That's just who he was. Apparently, he loved that kind of stuff. So, at a certain point, Angulimala is going around with, the despots and the other evil people of the time, the criminals, the robbers. And he hears about this guy, the Buddha. He hears about, he's heard stories about him, and then he finds out that the Buddha is actually in the area. The Buddha is nearby. He's walking through a nearby land. And Angulimala says, that's fantastic. I'm going to go and kill that guy. I'm going to go and murder the Buddha because this is like a once-in-a-lifetime chance. And, I'm well-known and evil and all that stuff. So he goes to chase down the Buddha. He goes to follow the Buddha. Eventually he sees him. He finds him. And he starts, kind of preying upon him, following him slowly, right? And then he seems like he can't get closer. He can't get closer to the Buddha. And so he starts speeding up. He's moving faster, faster. He still doesn't seem like he can get closer. Then he's running, he's sprinting towards the Buddha to try and kill this guy. But he can't. And so eventually he yells out and says, "Hey, you fuck." Calling the Buddha a fuck. This guy's trying to kill the guy. So no surprise he said that he called him a fuck. He said, "Buddha, you fuck, stop." The Buddha stops, turns around, and says to Angulimala, "Angulimala, I have already stopped. It's you that are continuous proliferation of thought and greed and suffering and all that shit." And Angulimala has an insight experience. At that moment, Angulimala becomes a Sotapatti. He gets an instant enlightenment. He gets an instant opening, a fruit of the Dhamma. And the Buddha said, Angulimala wanted to stay with him. Everything changed for Angulimala. He didn't want to kill people anymore. He didn't want to be involved in evil anymore. He had a nibbanic experience. He had an insight experience. This is now an enlightened character. And he says, Siddhartha, Buddha, please allow me to follow you, be your devotee. And the Buddha says, yes. He reaches out his hand, and when Angulimala touches the hand of Buddha, Angulimala became a monk. period. And so now, later on, when the villagers are like, hey, what the fuck? Because before they didn't know where this guy was. He was just always going around. He was in the forest. He was killing people. He was a madman. He was crazy, right? And now he's following the Buddha. Now he's walking into villages to receive donations. And so the people say, yo, what the fuck? We need to hurt this guy needs to be punished. This guy needs to be tortured. We need to do something to this guy. He's been going around killing people. What the fuck? And the Buddha says, no. I am responsible for his karma. I am responsible for his past deeds. If you want to kill somebody, you're going to have to kill me. Otherwise, please try to understand that this person has changed. They're following and practicing the Dharma, and I will be responsible for them moving forward. So what the fuck is that? And that brings me to this kind of commentary and this kind of position that is not absolute about modern sanghas and modern millionaire spiritual communities and meditation center and quote-unquote Buddhist organizations, and how shallow they are and how lacking they are in this limitless compassion, limitless wisdom, limitless openness that is at the very core of the Buddha. Remember, meditation was everywhere before Siddhartha Gautama became the Buddha. The Buddha is not about being a meditation master. That's not what enlightenment is about. Enlightenment is not about being a meditation master or teaching people to meditate very well so they feel very well. The Buddha was a meditation master long before he became a Buddha, long before he became free, long before he stopped. All right, so are we ready for Santa Claus to come out, or are we waiting for, are we practicing our meditation? Do we have any questions? Are we ready for Santa Claus? So everything is, as much as there's something that's meditation, as much as there's some particular thing that is meditation, that is practicing meditation, everything is meditation. But what blocks this true meditation or natural meditation or real meditation or Buddhist meditation from taking place, this vipassana meditation, is being stuck in sensual desire, being stuck in holding negative feelings towards something or someone else, being stuck in this sleepiness and this tiredness, being stuck in this restlessness or this remorse, this concern about imperfectness, and being stuck in skeptical doubt, being stuck in thinking about things. So this is why there's a very good blessing method. Widen out, brighten out, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Because when we kind of focus in and contract, it's actually going to be very possible for us to develop more attachment to feeling a certain way. Or more contrivance. Now Dr. Rob has his meditation face on. Now you have your meditation face on. And it's not just an outward face, it's an inward face. So now everything around you needs to go according to your meditation face. But actually, everything is meditation. As much as we can recognize these hindrances and give out beyond, break out beyond. You just think of it in terms of the morning time. You wake up tired, you wake up schizophrenic. If you're anything like me, you wake up schizophrenic. You wake up with noises and thoughts and voices and all kinds of things going on. What's going on? And, you hear this voice that's supposed to be you, but where does that voice even come from? Whose voice is that even? In the mind, it's irrelevant. For the body, that this body speaks a certain way is irrelevant to the mind. Just habit. So anyway, think about that. You wake up and you're tired and you're schizophrenic and all these different things. And then 5 minutes later, whatever, you take a shower, you have your coffee, whoop! All these ails are cured. Oh, you're fully ready to take on the day, which is a problem in and of itself, right? This self that's ready to take on the day. But there you have it. How can that much change take place? And why does that much change take place? Because you were entangled in this sense of sleepiness, in this sense of tiredness, in this sense of sloth and foldedness, folded in upon yourself. And actually, it doesn't require coffee, it requires meaningfulness. Coffee is just a habit, as it says. That energy is already there. Coffee is just triggering that energy to come out. Okay. Questions, sharing before we bring out Santa Claus? And the recommendation here, if you're a student, a practitioner of the Monk Life Meditation Institute, try to watch the lectures, try to keep up with the activities that are going on in the Institute. Be as practical about it as if you want to make use of it that way, as if we were living together and practicing together as a part of an institute, as a part of a training program. So if I'm sitting in front of the lecture hall for 5 hours, 6 hours, well, then either you're gonna do that and practice with that and focus on that, or you're not fully there. You're not fully participating. That doesn't mean you have to or you're being forced to. Of course you're not. Thoughts and feelings need love and acceptance, so you gotta widen out your bosom, spread out your bosom to nurture the baby, the animal, the puppy, the snarling, rotten dog with the breast milk of love and acceptance. I'll put my PayPal right here, and it is Christmas after all, everybody. It is Christmas. So, how subtle can we work with the physical world? How subtle can technology get? How subtle can construction get? How subtle can science get? Chemicals and medicines and vaccines. And you see what I'm saying? Hello? You understand what I'm saying? And astrophotography and governmental societal systems and creating nuclear weapons. Okay, you see what I'm saying? How subtle can all that get? The mind that creates that subtlety or facilitates the unpacking of that subtlety has to be more subtle than all that. Your mind is more subtle than the technology and the ways and means of putting together anything that you can find that human beings have thought up, created, etc. The nature of the mind is so subtle. So, if you have a low IQ score, you can raise it up with the meditation practice, with the real guidance from the real meditation masters, etc. Truthfully. All right, it's Christmas. I'm not going to keep dragging this on, making people meditate. Who's ready for Santa Claus? Raise your hand if you're ready for Santa to come out. Who's ready for the Monk Life Meditation Christmas Spectacular with Santa Claus himself? Who's ready? Who's ready for Santa Claus? Everybody ready? Let's hear it. Hip, hip, hooray, Santa! Come, Santa! Come on, Santa! Come on, who's ready for Santa Claus? Don't hold back. Activista baby, that is Ajahn Yanamoli. He's a bad dude, a bad character. And their YouTube channel is called Hillside Hermitage. Because what happens is that everything goes to our heads, one moment to the next. The unpleasantness goes to our heads. The pleasantness goes to our heads. The neutralness is not a very good thing to chew on for the head, for the self. The self doesn't like neutralness. And that's actually the horribleness that we experience when we just try to meditate or just try to, you ever like laying in bed and you just try to endure your mind instead of watching something or listening to something? And then it gets to a point where there's not actually any pain. It's not like there's physical pain, but somehow the head is about to explode. It's really uncomfortable. It's really unideal. We're supposed to sit with that and endure that and break through that. And we don't like to listen to anybody. We don't like to have anyone above us. We don't like to have any kind of teacher. Um, and why not? Why are we so egoic that having someone who's more experienced than us, someone who we trust, is inherently wrong? That we can't we set up a duality about everything and anything else in our lives, but somehow setting up this duality of identifying someone as being more experienced than us is uh, is a problem. Go ahead, Simon, if you have a question. The big thing, the big subtle unconscious thing, the very, very big subtle unconscious thing is we want to get the one that we can get now. And to get the one that's better than even the one that we could want, have to wait, have to be patient, patient 100%, patient 1000%. Okay, Simon says, what do you think about the declining white population? I, I hate to, I hate to put these people on blast, but we do know that these people are very problematic, at least for our way of living, and that's people with disabilities. But Simon Herrickson, that is retard shit. And people say, well, using that word, isn't that a little bit ableistic? Well, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about their shit. So if what you want to use as operating principles for yourself, and of course, very few people have any kind of community, let alone are leaders in any kind of community. But if that's the kind of, what you want to use for yourself is retard shit, if that's the kind of standards that you hold, then, make what you can out of it. Make whatever sandcastles of retard shit that you can, and, you know, because what these people basically believe subconsciously, unconsciously, which is nothing because they're not really there, but it's this idea that clean water, clean air, healthy community, healthy access to resources is somehow less important than what they think about. So it's really a weird problem. It's a weird position to be in, where like happiness, kindness, forgiveness, um, children being taken care of, children having their rights protected, the land and the environment being nurtured and taken care of, etc., is somehow less important than whatever bullshit just comes into their heads. And what these people don't understand, these Fox News watchers, these conspiracy YouTube video watchers, is that real we is here and now. Real we is the people that you are in direct relationship with in your life. There was a documentary put out about a schizophrenic, retarded, so they were a mother and father, and they were schizophrenic retards. And they had like children, and they homeschooled their children. And so how they homeschooled their children was teaching them about pedophile reptiles that ran the global world Illuminati government. And, you know, how could we have anything but kindness and compassion for these people in our hearts? But anyways, the truth is that for whatever reason, however this has happened, a part of the multimedia landscape and the advertising landscape and the business landscape that is Americanism, American ideals, seems to bring people to this mental space where they're very inclined to role play as political leaders. They're very inclined to role play as social leaders. They're very inclined to role play as like lobbyists. So your views and your positions and your understandings about social situations only relate to what you have access to. This is why you find people going out and doing like school shootings and harming, kindergartens with mixed race children, because if there's not just white people there, it must be genocidal. And this is what these people do. Because there's this idea that you have a right to what you don't have a right to. There's this idea that you have control, or that you should have control, or that you could have control over what you don't have a right to have control over. So this is the millionaire identity complex, the billionaire identity complex. And it's a big American confusion and problem. But what to bring here is this sense of intimacy and presence and realness that is not based on thinking. It could be based on seeing. It could be based on hearing. It could be based on feeling. And you may notice if that thing that you see is pleasant or unpleasant. You may notice if that feeling in your body is pleasant or unpleasant or neutral, but it doesn't actually matter. If it's pleasant, you notice it and you don't think about it. If it's unpleasant, you notice it and you don't think about it. If it's neutral, you notice it and you don't think about it. So this is a kind of going to the gym, and it is fucked. That's why I don't go to the gym. That's why if you want me to go to the gym, I need HGH, I need testosterone, I need some boost. That's why people take psychedelics. Because if we, as a community, start going to the gym every day, if you're a fat sack of shit, a fat, lazy, unfit sack of shit, you're going to be a lazy, sack of shit a week from now, a month from now. Maybe a little bit better off a month from now, eh? So, what we're doing here cannot be encapsulated into a quick fix, although it's the quickest fix, and it can't be encapsulated into entertainment, even though it can seem to be very entertaining. It can also seem to be very, I want to get away from this as soon as possible, and that's just as important. Being with that is just as important as being with the sense of being drawn in and being interested and engaged by it. Well, it's ridiculous, Kira Lynn. That's what we need to keep in mind. It's ridiculous in the scope of time. It's ridiculous in the scope of a day-by-day experience. Whether it's good or not is irrelevant. It's just ridiculous. It's like you striving, the efficacy, the truth, the power of you striving for being healthy and wealthy, physically fit, instead of a fat slob, day by day by day, is empty. Is empty. Even though you're going to the gym day after day after day after day, it's not working. You're still fat. Months go by, years go by. So get outside of this framework of time and get into the framework of picking up those weights, going into direct experiencing here and now. That's what it's about. And what will come about from that? Well, the same thing that they say, that they allege will come about from going to the gym and stuff. But maybe you'll get hit by a car on your way to the gym, right? Well, we can't control that. Whatever it is, we can't control it. So don't try to control it, but rather be still. Tie the elephant, tie the animal to a block of wood, like the breath. That's why we put good together with generosity. Pop. I lose. Fuck me. I lose. It's not about the other people winning. It's about you losing. So that's why good is generosity. That's why the best standard for good is generosity. And that's why the formula of attachment value, practical attachment value, is very important, not just for ourselves, but especially for ourselves and then for the world as well. Okay, and I'm just kind of stuck in the middle here. I wish I had, something more exorbitant to be involved with, but this is the main thing going on. We do. We dream about these fantasy worlds, these fantasy ways of living, right? Oh, South Korea is calling. Looking at my regular donations, I think I'd be able to stay in South Korea for a while. This is your home. This is your life. This is reality. There is no fucking South Korea. There is no other place, no other time. I'm going to go and see about staying near Dr. Rob for a while. I'll help him clean his house. There is no Dr. Rob. There is no house. There is no place. There is no time. There is no situation. There is no experience to be going towards, to be seeking towards. So tie that fuck that you call you to the tree. The tree of stillness, the tree of facing the mind, the tree of facing moment by moment experiencing. And if you can't do that, then Santa Claus is never going to come. And you know who is going to come? Fucking black lung. Sickness, old age, and death. So how do we make sickness, old age, and death our friend? By finding sickness, old age, and death in our direct experience. The sickness of the ego, the sickness, the death of the ego, the old age of the ego, of the I, of the wanting, of the seeking, of the discerning. There is no hope. When are we going to do that thing? There is no thing. That's what you tell your children when you said you're going to take a family trip. We're going to go to the shopping mall. And then you're sitting and you're meditating. You're listening to Dr. Rob. Look at them and say, there's nowhere. You're going nowhere. There's only nothing. And you can invite them to sit with you and invite them to breathe with you. Challenging others, being challenging, doesn't mean that we wish to cause harm to anyone. It's not about that. And really, this is all about you. There's no one who will ever be more important to you than you. Now, if you get free from you, then you have a lot of flexibility. The teacher is not attached to you. You are attached to the teacher. Very simple, but very important to have that kind of understanding, that kind of inclination in mind for practical purposes. And just because we aren't attached, just because we don't desire something, doesn't mean that we don't have compassion, or we don't have care, or we don't have love, or anything like that. So, our work in following our teacher is to be attached to our teacher. That's the work. And our work as a teacher is to not be attached to our students, to our followers. And our work as spiritual friends is to practice non-attachment in the face of our attachments, so that we can communicate, collaborate, offer protection, share resources. We need a lot more help than we think that we do, because we get very prideful. You've got a room, that's a cave. You've got easy access to food. That means you're a champion. That means you're well experienced, that you're fully matured, that you can get access to food and water. You have hot water. So that means you have followers and supporters and devotees, because you don't need to cook the hot water for yourself. It's just there. You have armed guards protecting your cave. So, from a materialist standpoint, the body and the ego says, I don't need anybody's help. I got money in the bank. I got food on the table. I'm a controller. I hold dominion. And that's why this bodhicitta, this wish for enlightenment, not just for our own enlightenment, but considering this wish of for an enlightenment of all others as well, is very important. That'll get the millionaires, that'll get the middle-aged meditation guys at the Zen retreats off their fucking cushions and into their vulnerabilities of self-sacrifice and serving and helping others. So what Ajahn Yanamoli talked about, well, Batman never dies. I'll be glad when you make a donation and make an offering, as uncomfortable as that may be. There's a underlying pressure, this pressure to do something, this pressure to be someone, this pressure to get something, this pressure that there's something wrong with what's being experienced. Something needs to be fixed. Something needs to be solved. So what is it? What is it that needs to be fixed or solved in this direct experience? What is wrong with the mind? Why can't you just sit here and be with yourself? Be with your mind? Be with your experience? To not think about it, to just be with it, to just be with it and just experience it. That's how you can see what the problem is, or if there is a problem. I had a conversation last night with Howard Stern. Is anyone here familiar with Howard Stern? I had a conversation with him in the car. I called into his radio show, and somehow, not too long after we hung up, I actually got a chance to see him outside of his studio and give him a hug. And for some reason, he had shaved off his. I was a big Howard Stern fan. Anybody who doesn't know, I was a big Howard Stern fan for many years. My father was a Howard Stern fan. I was, I was involved in the Sirius XM merger transition, but I think he's too old now. Too old for me now. He's a big meditator. Baba Booey, Howard Stern's penis, Baba Booey. Let's get back to meditation. Because so many of these things that we pursue, we don't just pursue them to pursue them. There's this underlying idea that there is a satisfaction, that there's a richness, that there's a pot of proverbial gold at the end of the rainbow of our struggling and striving when it comes to making money, when it comes to doing business, when it comes even to meditating. This practice is to bring the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow to here and now. That whatever you have right here and right now is the proverbial pot of gold. And this is the only gold that can be used in the smelting process of realizing one's Buddha nature, the purification of this dirty gold, dirtied by discernment, dirtied by differentiation, dirtied by thoughts about this and that, thoughts about things. And this smelting process of enduring, of the present action, of calmness and extinction, mindfulness and detachment, it might not happen overnight, because this isn't 2,600 years ago when people were eating sticks and bathing in dirt. There's a lot of sensual stimulation, a lot of reification of the animal. This animal, this self, this habitual energy of seeking, of clinging and rejecting, is by all accounts stronger than ever before. People are less sensitive, people are less tuned in than ever before. Shiva Kailash Shambho, you should have waited. You should have never done that live stream last night. That algorithmic position that your channel is in belongs to me as much as it belongs to you. You should have never gone live last night without my permission, without my guidance, and you should have never gone live this morning. Because what you didn't account for and what you didn't understand is that this is Christmas Eve in the United States of America, where your algorithm is predominant. And this is the time, this is the energetic time when people are going to be staying up late. So you've poisoned my work, you've poisoned your aspirations for health and wealth, and you've really, the worst of all is that you've poisoned my opportunity to be in front of more faces. What's with the pressure? Well, Ginger, I think you better off listen to Ajahn Yanamoli about that pressure. But I think that pressure is this habituated ideal of getting something satisfactory. That there is something satisfactory, which creates unsatisfactoriness. You could say it's all a hallucination. You could say that. But it's still grasping onto names and forms. The form of it, the name of hallucination. And what we really want to return to is our Buddha nature, the original nature. And then the deeper that you return to that Buddha nature, that's when you get these so-called fruits. Sotapatti. Factory reset, breath by breath, moment by moment. Refresh and restart the self. And Shanath, if you listen to Hillside Hermitage, if you listen to Ajahn Yanamoli, you don't have to be like these losers that are thinking about it and writing things down. It's a mind meditation. You listen to Ajahn Yanamoli, the last video that was uploaded on this channel, you listen to that from the mind, as the mind. You're not thinking about it, you're not taking down notes. You're experiencing this Dharma. No need to conceptually understand or conceptually practice. What's relevant to you, what's practical for you, will be as such if you are receptive and open and listening deeply. You don't need to make it be that way. That's ridiculous. That's why that guy who was calling in was so stupid. And I'm sure he thinks he's very smart. And it's a ridiculous way to interact with somebody like Ajahn Yanamoli, but couldn't be very good. And you saw at that certain point, Ajahn Yanamoli checked him and he said, where is this conceiving? What is the need for this conceiving? He smashed him up to pieces and embarrassed him. And I was listening closely. I was saying, why? If that guy was talking to me like that and I was Ajahn Yanamoli, I'd be fucking pissed off. I'd be angry as all hell. I'd say, shut the fuck up. But Ajahn Yanamoli, he was just, yeah, it's right. That's good. So we all be blessed. That's a great Christmas gift to listen to Ajahn Yanamoli. The medicine is bitter. Medicine is bitter. The sweetness of medicine is not in the taste. The sweetness of medicine is not in the taste. So we come here and we practice like that, for better or worse. We practice with the mind. To be with emptiness. To be with unknowing, uncontrolling. We're not sitting here counting our breaths. You could do that. We're not sitting here trying to meditate. You could do that. Look into my eyes and see what you see. There's not actually anything there. Like a picture, like a painting. What is the meaning? What is the meaning behind my suffering? What is the meaning behind my thoughts? There is no meaning. There is no explanation. It's unnecessary. So this is a space and a time to bathe in the unnecessariness of explanations. To bathe in the unnecessariness of thinking. And it is, dear friends, a privilege to be here and an honor to be here and a blessing to be here. I say that truthfully. Use no method. Practice with no method. Just look at the mind. Just sit there and face the mind. And Kai, you do not have it. Shut up. Go and take out some loans. And this is the truth, dear friends. We need to, in this social work, in this engaged Buddhism, we're not attached to following the law. As much as you know how to use the law, you need to know how to break the law. If you're not willing to take out the loans to purchase gold bullion yourself, get your arthritic and Alzheimer's grandma to or mother to take out the loan and get that in gold bullion. She got to be good for something. So this is a limitless approach to. It's not really about a new world order, but everything is here. The world is new and is here in this way to exploit, to make use of without attachment, for doing all kinds of good deeds limitlessly. And unless you're expecting to die in the next few days, it doesn't need to be a rush order to get that gold bullion to me. You can hold, if it's gold bullion, I'd prefer you make a rush order, but just do your best. Anyone who says Merry Christmas to me without making a donation is going to be well, I don't know what they're going to be, but I wish them well. I'm not psychic, so as those who adopt this principle of doing good deeds with mindfulness and detachment limitlessly, truly concerned with the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, we are above the law. We are beyond the law. The law does not apply. The Dhammic law is higher than the law of the lands and will always be. And the greatest wealth is the wealth of community. And the matter of fact is that everybody is going to die. Seraph, we already talked a little bit about this on the live stream, but Shiva is out of control and is wasting the opportunities that have been provided to him by me. And he needs to experience his experience. I'm neither late nor early. Just like a wizard, I arrive precisely when I am supposed to. And even in the face of this, and even in the face of that, detach. As if there was a choice to decide to keep your body alive. Extinction is what allows life to take place. So allowing extinction to take place within yourself, within your body and mind, is going to make life deeper and richer, and hopefully blissful and ecstatic. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderers, leavers, lovers of leaving, and come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of shame, and it doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before. Come again, come, come again, come. Come again, come. Come again, come. Come again, come. Just because you know the words doesn't mean that you can carry them or hold them realistically. So when we talk about Zen and when we talk about Advaita Vedanta, when we talk about non-duality, well, anybody can talk about that. Anybody can say those words, but the reality of those words is like a red-hot iron ball. So hot, so red, so iron that picking it up burns straight through your hand. So really all that you're showing is the hole in your hand from the trying to hold on to those words. So you've already got your answer. Absence, space. And what really needs to be done, which prissy boys and pansy boys don't like to hear, and, just drunkard, dilapidated men, selfish freaks. I mean, just the most just horrible, disgusting people. So more focused on consuming alcohol, weed, and mushrooms than doing anything to benefit others, any kind of generosity, any kind of self-sacrifice, is that what you actually have to do is swallow that red hot iron ball. And then when you speak, steam will come out. But until then, good luck. Uh, Alcohol, kind of, but not really for you. Weed, no. Mushrooms, no. No. Sure. Let it go. It's stupid. It's dumb. You've got to work on charging up that red hot iron ball and finding a way to have it shoved down your throat. So you're going to have to be a little bit too busy doing that to then to think about consuming alcohol and weed and mushrooms. Try to imagine, RKS Mutual, go into a meditation, try to imagine a red hot iron ball. Red hot is not a kind of paint. That iron ball is so dense with energy, with heat, that it's red hot. So imagine that in your mind. Now try to imagine holding on to that red hot iron ball. You're going to burn your hand. And now imagine swallowing that red hot iron ball. So that's what it takes to confront, to embrace, to penetrate Zen Buddhism, to penetrate Advaita Vedanta, to penetrate non-duality. And that red hot iron ball is representing the antithesis that these words represent to the notion of self, the notion of you. Yes, donations are accepted, and in the spirit of Christmas, don't be shy. I'll put the link for that down there. We also accept donations of cryptocurrency. So that's no problem. If you'd like to make a donation of 1 or 2 Bitcoin, you're very welcome to do so. So what does that mean in a practical sense? It means shut the fuck up. Stop thinking about things. Stop trying to have conversations about things and face and look at your mind now. There's the PayPal, and the Cash App is Monk Life 93. All right, well, I guess it's time to bring out Santa Claus, right? Let's get some W's in the chat for Santa Claus, everybody. It's time to bring out Santa Claus. Oh my gosh. Wednesday evening, the monastery begins a 3-month countdown to potential land. This is they're raising $5 million by March 22nd, 2026. Thank you for your generous offerings. 2 adjoining parcels, 90 acres, accommodating full vision, 40-minute drive from downtown Seattle. It's got a large stream and forest, buildable land, enough buildable land to accommodate clear mountains, full vision. Rests within approximately 1 mile of an alms resort, and some of the cost is recoverable through future conservation easements. A lot of details. Ajahn Nisabo and Ajahn Kovila. We have the support of Ajahn Sona, who's very well known, beginning this monastery with the support of the land. I suppose both of these monks, my idea would be that both of these monks have their Dharma eyes open, but I just notice it in Ajahn Nisabo more so, and a lot of people supporting this project. We got a treasurer. This is great. Well, this is definitely something that anyone in the Seattle area wants to check out and connect with. Big community, big project coming out of Seattle in the Thai forest tradition of Ajahn Chah. Very big news, big stuff. This is Clear Mountain Monastery in Seattle. It's going to be great to see how they... All right, phase 1. Phase 1 is a multi-purpose hall, 2 kutis, 1 elders kuti, so for guest senior monks, a visiting bhikkhuni's quarters, a garden, and a workshop. So it's going to start out with the place for the 2 resident monks to live, a place for an elder to visit, a place for visiting bhikkhunis to visit, a multi-purpose hall, garden, and a workshop. That's year 1 to 3. Year 3 to 10, phase 2, is going to be a temple, plus 4 regular kutis, plus 1 elder kutis, a commons area for the bhikkhus, a monastic wing for the sala, and a columbarium for the ashes. So that's year 3 to 10. And then phase 3 is 14 regular kutis, and another elder's kuti, and 1 sick monk's kuti. There you go. I mean, I'd say they've got all the energies. They've got all the energies to make that happen and make it work. It's truly a great victory for the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha in Seattle. Oh, Ajahn Nisa, I've known Ajahn Nisabo for a while. You know, he was a friend of mine as a monk, very distant friend, but I know Ajahn Nisabo, so that's how I know about his project. And they're raising a lot of money. They're raising hundreds of thousands of dollars. This project, you know, the final ask is for $5 million total that they want to raise. But they've already raised $4.3 million. Approximately $4.3 million in donated and pledged funds as of December 24, 2025, sadhu. So there you go. You say, well, what about me? I mean, you can't imagine how I'm feeling here.
According to the compass of Zen, all phenomena appear, remain, and disappear. However, Daebongsanim, despite 50 years in Korea, his Korean knowledge never appeared, it never remained, and it never disappeared. He's completely free man. Do you agree? This is the truth.
I've met that monk. I've met that monk of, let's watch this again.
What is appear, what is disappear? According to the compass of Zen, all phenomena appear, remain, and disappear. However, Daebongsanim, despite 50 years in Korea, his Korean knowledge never appeared, it never remained, and it never disappeared. He's completely free man. Do you agree? This is the truth.
This is the monk, this is the overseeing monk for Musang Sa in South Korea, which is the kind of the foundation temple, foundation training temple for the Kwan School of Zen. And I went and met that guy. He's the abbot there when I was a monk, and he said, you know, you're great. You keep doing what you're doing. So there you go. Proof is in the pudding. And I feel like there have been a lot of attempts to start up Dharma centers, monasteries in the US, but they all fail or get corrupted. Well, this one is the way that they're doing it is primarily a hub for these Western monastics that are not cloistered. So there's just a handful of them. Quite a few of them are bhikkhunis. And then there's these cloistered monastics that are very conservative that are Western. And so it's going to start very small. They're going to keep doing what they're doing, training the lay people. And it's a small kind of dense energetic zone for the Theravada monastic Western people. So it's very simple, small, dense, a lot of support from above and from below, from lay people, and also from the masters of the Ajahn Chah tradition. So they've got a very good, I think, good direction to go in. And they're clearly, to raise money like that, they're connected with a wealth organization. So that's probably why they've been able to do all those interviews, is because maybe Ajahn Nisabo's parents, I've heard, are very wealthy, or there's some connection there where there's a wealthy agent saying, you know, these guys are okay by me, and then they can go from there with all other wealthy people. That's usually how it works. You either go the scientific route where you get some fucking papers published and you get some research, or some wealthy person says, you know, this guy's got the juice, and then the other wealthy people say, okay, you know. So they've got a good Dharma too, you know. They've got a nice Dharma. It's a very bright future over at Clear Mountain Monastery in Seattle. Very bright, wonderful future. I'm going to type in, I'm going to embarrass myself in the chat. Join us over at the Monk Life Meditation YouTube channel for some non-dual Buddhist absurdism live. Get some of these millionaires over here, eh? I did it. I'm sorry. Okay. Dedicate the merit. No, I would not. I am the monastery. I am the teaching. I am the prophet. I am the Gushmenaka. I am the Gushmela Kashere Vyasana Kasha. Why would I go somewhere else? I am the Gushmene Nama. Yakpa Kashe Sefayashana. I don't know what that means, RKS Mutual. Okay, everybody, here we go. Knock 100. Here we go, everybody. Yeah, Blue Octopus. Well, we can set up a time to talk on WhatsApp. I know that you were interested in the upcoming retreat with my teacher. That's over in California, but there are also a variety of monasteries and temples in New York. I especially know of one in New Jersey. that you could possibly go to. And yeah, that's the logical next step. If you're more and more interested, then you can get more and more involved, not just mentally, but physically. So that's really good. Okay, the five skandhas are but false names, and they cannot be found in any fixed parts of the body. What are the five skandhas? Feelings, sensations, perceptions, volitional formations, and consciousness. The five skandhas are but false names, and that they cannot be found in any fixed parts of the body. We should know that this is someone that understands the meaning of the Buddha's words. As it is said in a Buddhist sutra, the storage building of the five skandhas is the Buddhist temple. So, false names that cannot be found is the Buddhist temple. How can we not know that seeking enlightenment by contemplating on the inner of the mind is the method of Mahayana? How can we not know that? How can we not understand the correct way of meditating? How can we not understand what we're doing here, what we're practicing here? Not recalling any dharma is meditative concentration. So you feel something in your stomach, you don't recall that. You don't bring that up again. You think a thought, you don't ruminate on that thought. You don't bring that thought up again. You don't create a narrative and a story. Not recalling any dharma is meditative concentration. Those who really understand what this means are in meditative concentration no matter they are walking, standing, sitting, or lying down. Knowing that the mind is void is seeing Buddha. And what is the mind? Well, the mind is what decides. The mind is what understands. The mind is what discerns. The mind is what controls. So what does it say here about this mind, knowing this mind? Knowing that the mind is void is seeing Buddha. Why is that? All the Buddhas in the 10 directions of space are mindless. So when we do not see them through the mind, it is to see the Buddha. Giving away one's body without grudges is the greatest almsgiving. It is very difficult to do. Leaving all activities and meditations is the great sitting meditation. Why is that? Ordinary beings are always in motion, and Hinayana practitioners are always in abstract meditation. The sitting meditation, going beyond the notion, the motion of ordinary beings, and the abstract meditation of Hinayana practitioners, is the great sitting meditation. If people understand this, they can apprehend all forms without pursuing knowledge of them, and have all illnesses cured without treating them. These are all made possible by the power of great sitting meditation. I want us all to pay very close attention here. Using the mind to seek Dharma is being deluded, and not using the mind to seek Dharma is being enlightened. Using the mind to seek the teachings or the way leading to the ending of suffering is being deluded, and not using the mind to seek the ending of suffering is being liberated. Not being defiled by the 6 fields of senses is protecting Buddha truth. Defiled is involved, is identified with, is discerning, is picking up and holding, etc. Not being attached to words is being liberated. Can we get a hallelujah? Can we get an amen? Can we get a thank fuck? It's that easy. It's that true. It's that real. It's that direct. I don't want to encourage anyone to use coarse language. Using the mind to seek Dharma is being deluded, and not using the mind to seek Dharma is being enlightened. Not being attached to words is being liberated. Not being attached to words is being liberated. Write it down, get it tattooed, get a shirt made of it. Not being defiled by the 6 fields of senses, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, is protecting Buddha truth. Leaving birth and death is true leaving home. Not receiving future karma is having obtained the way. Not giving rise to deluded thoughts is nirvana. Not living in ignorance is great wisdom. Where there is no affliction is the final perfect nirvana. And where there is no phenomena of the mind is the other shore. When we are deluded, there appears this shore. When we are awake, this shore disappears. Why is that? It is because ordinary beings always abide here, while the minds of those enlightened by the Supreme Vehicle abide neither here nor there, and thus can leave this and the other shore. Okay? Ordinary beings always abide here, while the minds of those enlightened by the Supreme Vehicle abide neither here nor there, and thus can leave this and the other shore. The minds of those who see that the other shore is different from this shore have already been away from meditative concentration. That's a tricky one, eh? The minds of those who see that the other shore is different from this shore have already been away from meditative concentration. Having afflictions is called sentient beings. Being enlightened is called bodhi. They are neither the same nor different, and are only separated by whether one is deluded or awake. When one is deluded, there is a mundane world for them to get out of. When they are awake, there is no mundane world for them to get out of. In the impartial truth, ordinary beings are not different from holy being. As it is said in a Buddhist sutra, the impartial Dharma is something that ordinary beings can't enter, and holy beings can't perform. Impartial here meaning non-differentiating, not based in differentiation, not based in picking and choosing. In the impartial Dharma, there are the deeds of Mahasattvas and Buddhas only. If one sees that birth is different from death, or that movement is different from stillness, it is called partiality. Not seeing that afflictions are different from nirvana is called impartiality. Why? It is because both afflictions and nirvana have the same void nature. That is why practitioners of Hinayana Buddhism erroneously cut off afflictions, erroneously enter nirvana and are stranded in it, as if there could be such a thing as nirvana in the non-differentiating truth. Bodhisattvas know that afflictions are void in nature and that they have never left voidness, and thus they are always in nirvana. So this is right meditation, right mindfulness, right action that is not completely finished or burnt out, but not separate from that either. So that's the bodhisattva nature. And the right practice, the right meditation doesn't have anything to do with whether you smoke cigarettes or not, or drink wine or not, or eat food or not. And this is a transmission for your spiritual path, for your spiritual journey, for your spiritual discernment. But it's not about talking about things with people, dear friends, justifying your understanding. It's not a good idea to worry about that in any way at all, justifying your understanding. Bodhisattvas know that afflictions are void in nature and that they have never left voidness, and thus they are always in nirvana. Nirvana means being undefiled without being born and being happy without being dead. It is going beyond birth and death and beyond parinirvana. When there is no coming and going in our mind, we enter nirvana. Therefore, we know that nirvana means the void mind. The only place where Buddhas enter nirvana is where there is no erroneous thinking. The only place where Buddhas enter nirvana is where there is no erroneous thinking. The place where bodhisattvas enter the sight of enlightenment is where there are no afflictions. A free and leisurely place has no desire, anger, and ignorance. Desire is the realm of sensuous desire. Anger is the realm of form, things, and ignorance is the realm of formlessness, so eternalism, nihilism, and seeking. That sensuality, there's something worthwhile to seek. Or suffering. Self and permanence. Or I guess it would be nibbana. Nibbana, self and permanence. If a thought is extinguished in the mind, we are out of the three realms. Therefore, we know that the begetting and the extinction of the three realms and the existence and non-existence of all myriad dharmas are caused by the one mind. Every dharma, every phenomena, every mental phenomena, every physical phenomena that can be named is actually like a broken piece of brick, a stone, a bamboo stick, or a piece of wood that does not have perceptions and consciousness. If we know that the mind is a false name and does not have a substantial body, then we know that our own mind is neither existent nor non-existent. Why? Ordinary beings are always arousing the mind, which is named existence. Practitioners of Hinayana are always extinguishing the mind, which is named non-existence. Bodhisattvas and Buddhas neither arise neither arouse nor extinguish the mind, and have the mind of neither existence nor non existence. The mind of neither existence nor non existence is named the middle way. So, this, I guess, is probably why Ajahn Yanamoli says that no right view, no eightfold path. And here, a bodhisattva is someone who's actually on the track to Buddhahood, to enlightenment, rather than someone who's an ordinary being, who's just fucking around, or a practitioner of the way of practice that is not based in right view. So they're working to extinguishing the mind, and Ajahn Yanamoli was talking about that in the homework from yesterday, or added materials yesterday in that talk, where they have these monks, seemingly very good monks. They go for, every other month or whatever, they go for 10 days in a silent meditation retreat, but they're actually just practicing to suppress their mind, to extinguish the mind. But Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, people who are in the right practice, the middle way, they neither arouse nor extinguish the mind, and have the mind of neither existence nor non-existence. This mind of neither existence nor non-existence is named the middle way. And remember, the math is not about you liking me, or how much I get in donations, or how many viewers we have, or how well things seems to be going. The math is inside of yourself. Your realization, your deeper understanding, your freedom from fixation on understanding or not understanding, your freedom from fixation on existence or non-existence, your freedom from attachment to words. That's the math, okay? That's the Dhamma math, right? I'm happy to, if it works, if it's correct, then why can't somebody else show me the work? I'm doing the heavy lifting. I'm the one who solved the equation. You show me the work, you dumb bitch. The equation is solved. I didn't make up the equation to solve it. You did. So if you want the work to be shown, then you show it. If you can't, then shut the fuck up. I've solved it. The solution is there. What more do you want? Now you're giving me problems for the sake of no solution. What the fuck is that? You're giving me problems that aren't, to solve, but then you don't actually want me to solve them. You want me to show how to solve them. What if it can't be shown? What if it can't be heard? It can't be seen? And what if it's not a conversation? The problem is solved, so just leave it at that. Thus we know that if we learn Dharma by holding on to the mind, we become deluded by both the mind and Dharma. This is capital D Dharma, the way of ending suffering, the Buddha Dharma. If we know that the mind is a false name and does not have a substantial body, then we know that our own mind is neither existent nor non-existent. Why? Well, ordinary beings are always arousing the mind, which is named existence, bringing up ideas, stories, explanations. Ordinary beings are always arousing the mind of things, the mind of differentiation, the mind of picking and choosing, which is named existence, the mind of things. Practitioners of Hinayana, or practitioners of the way of ending suffering that do not have right view, are always working to extinguish the mind. which is named non-existence. Bodhisattvas and Buddhas, those who are on the true path and those who have arrived at the true path, neither arouse nor extinguish the mind. They neither accept nor reject things, and have the mind of neither existence nor non-existence. This mind of neither existence nor non-existence, this mind of non-differentiation, is named the middle way. Thus we know that if we learn Dharma by holding on to the mind, we become deluded by both the mind and Dharma. And that if we learn Dharma without holding on to the mind, we are awakened by both the mind and Dharma. This somewhat leads to the, why a place or something to consider about this Clear Mountain Monastery project in Seattle may be able to work, because this is not monasticism in that way is not really concerned with teaching the Dharma to people. So that's something that the monks might practice, but the context of the space is not about helping people wake up. It's about helping people make merit. And you can know that for sure because even the fucking Buddha didn't try to wake people up who were just your regular, average, everyday people. He tried to help them be a good person. So it's when these spiritual circles and spiritual environments spring up where you're actually trying to awaken other people, especially in person, that you get a lot of confusions and problems and things like that. So Theravada monasticism is not about enlightening other people. It's about a kind of self-enlightenment for the monks. It's about, modern day is about creating spaces where monks can be served, fundamentally, and where the lay people have a chance to go and make merit by serving the monks on their holy journey. There's a lot of goodness. There's a lot of good aspects to that. A lot of different ways you can approach it as well, as a monk or as someone who's creating that kind of space. And all the juicy stuff, all the interesting stuff, you're never going to hear about anyway. So, and that's the best, that's what people really like. So, thus, all those who are deluded by the notion of awakeness. And those who are awake know it when they are deluded. Those who have the right view know that the mind is void, and thus can go beyond delusion and awakeness. So I would say then that Hinayana is a term for this notion that you can properly practice and follow the Eightfold Path without right view. I would say that that's what, I would say that's what this means here, rather than the Theravada tradition. All those who are deluded by the notion of awakeness, and those who are awake know it when they are deluded. Those who have the right view, and remember, this is the view of not someone, not something, not somewhere, not some situation, not some particular experience. Those who have the right view know that the mind is void, and thus can go beyond delusion and awakeness. There you go. We got another t-shirt idea. Those who have the right view know that the mind is void and thus can go beyond delusion and awakeness. Only being without delusion and awakeness can it be named the right understanding or the right view. Only being without delusion and without awakeness can it be named the right understanding or the right view. Without the arising of the mind, material existence is not material existence. Without being aroused by material existence, a thought doesn't become a thought by itself. Thus, we know that material existence and the mind have mutual dependence in arising and extinction. Seeing that existence originates from non-existence and that non-existence exists in existence is the true insight. Those with true insight see everything and nothing. They completely and fully see the 10 directions of space and yet see nothing. Why is that? It is because they see nothing, nothing is seen, and seeing is not seeing. All that ordinary beings see is named erroneous thinking. Only seeing nothing with calmness and extinction can it be named the true insight. The mind and the condition are interdependent, and one's seeing is begotten in between. If a thought doesn't arise innerly, there won't be an outer condition. Thus, only when both the condition and the mind are pure can it be named the true insight. Only when we understand things in this way can it be named the right view. And only when we don't see any dharma is it named obtaining the way. And only when we don't understand any dharma is it named understanding dharma. Only when we don't understand any dharma lowercase d is it named understanding dharma. And it should challenge everything in you. And whatever you bring to it should burn itself out. You should be exhausted, overwhelmed, frustrated, perturbed, and lost in this sense of you controlling and having a position. That means that you're in the right place and the right stuff is happening. For you, for the self, for the ego. All right. Well, do we have any questions from the reading? Okay, go ahead, Kai. The meditation thing is weird because it really doesn't work like that. Not to allude to the fact that I have wisdom as a fact, right? Not to posit that, but instead to say that you could have someone who could literally sit here for 3 hours meditating, just sitting there and focusing and meditating. Maybe they'd even be having a great time while they were doing that. But that doesn't mean in any way that they would have much insight at all, factually for themselves. Much less would it mean that they had any insight to offer you. So it doesn't really work in the way that we think that it works. It's not actually that way. Ah, I got it. It's very subtle. It's very revolutionary. More revolutionary than overthrowing the government of the United States of America. So naturally, most people aren't going to. It's a nice idea, but when you actually arrive at the steps of the Supreme Court or the Pentagon or whatever it might be, it's only very few people are going to make a stand, take a stand. I'll have everybody here know that I was arrested on the stairs of the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C., when I tackled, when I attacked, when I assaulted a plain clothed police officer that was assaulting a young woman that was a part of this protest brigade. I was arrested. That truly happened. I was a hero. As an extension, as a part of the Occupy Wall Street camp in Washington, D.C. at that time. So this is a kind of consistent confrontation to all the stories, to all your freedom, to all your choices, to all your determinations of self. This is training the animal, training this hungry ghost spirit of seeking and avoiding, of controlling, of understanding, of having a correct idea of about better or worse. No, there is no better or worse in this. The illusion of time, the illusion of self, the illusion of a real situation, a real day, a real night, a real tomorrow, a real yesterday, a real scene. Okay, friends, thank you all for being here in our Monk Life Meditation Institute Christmas special live stream. Thank you for the offerings and the donations and the gifts. I'm really a very spoiled teacher, and I'm very grateful. And I invite, as we close, hello out there. Are there any final questions? Does anyone have a question or something they want to say? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your Christmas. See you again soon. Sadhu. 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 Ho, 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 ho. And